Today's notes are 8.4. We're going to be adding and subtracting rational expressions. I'm going to do the odd numbers with you. I want you to try the even numbers on your own. So in order to add or subtract rational expressions, they have to have the same denominator. Since these two have the same denominator, we can just go ahead and subtract them. So 1 minus 5 is -4, and then we keep the same denominator. And that's it. Now let's move on to number 3. On number 3, they also have the same denominator, so we can go ahead and just add. So this would be 6x plus 24 over x plus 4. And then here we can actually try and simplify by factoring the top of the fraction, so the numerator. From the numerator, they have a greatest common factor of 6. If I take out a 6, I'd be left with x plus 4 over x plus 4. And then since I have the same thing on the top and the bottom, they cancel out and we're just left with 6. Okay, and you have to also make sure you note what x can't be. So here, if x equals 4, the denominator is going to be 0, and then we're going to have an undefined fraction, so x cannot equal -4. So let's go back to the top and write down that x cannot be +1. So this is our answer. Okay, let's move on to number 5. Number 5 says find the least common multiple of the expressions, so we need to figure out what is the least common multiple of both of these. So let's try and factor things to see if we get something in common. So I'm going to try and factor this one first. So if I take out a 3x, I'd be left with x minus 7. Okay, since I took out a 3x from this expression, I'm going to try and take out a 3x from here. So if I take out a 3x, I'd be left with x squared. So it looks like the least common multiple is going to be 3x. There's a 3x on both of these. X squared and x minus 7. So 3x, x squared, x minus 7. Now let's do number 7 together. For these, in order to factor them, we're either going to have to use the x and the reverse box method. So let's go ahead and start that. So a times c is 6x squared, b is 5x. Two numbers that you can add to get 5x, and two numbers you can multiply to get 6x squared. 3x and 2x. Now you draw your box and label it. A is x squared, c is 6, and then let's fill in with our new values, 3x and 2x. We got those from here. In order to get x squared, we need to multiply x times x. In order to get 3x, we need to multiply x times 3, +3. In order to get x squared, we need to multiply x times 2, +2. Okay, so this is going to be x plus 3 times x plus 2. Now let's factor the next part. Okay, so a times c is -18x squared. B is -3x. Our two numbers are going to be -6x and +3x. Let's go ahead and fill in our box. A is x squared. C is -18. Our values are -6x and +3x. To get x squared, we need x and x. To get -6x, we need x times -6. And then to get 3x, we need x times +3. So that's going to factor out to be x plus 3 times x minus 6. So x plus 3 times x minus 6. So that means our least common multiple is x plus 3, x plus 2, we already have x plus 3, and then x minus 6. So let's go ahead and write that down. It was x plus 2, x plus 3, and x minus 6. This is our final answer. Now we're moving on to 8 through 11. It says find the sum or difference. I'm doing number 9 and 11 with you. Okay, first we need to notice that they do not have a common denominator. So that means that we can't just go ahead and add or subtract straight across. We need to get both of them to have a common denominator. So first we need to state what our least common multiple is. For here we have x minus 2 and x plus 8. So our least common multiple is x minus 2, x plus 8. Okay, now that we have our least common multiple, the first part of this expression we're going to multiply by x plus 8 since we already have an x minus 2, so let's do that. 15 times x plus 8. We're going to multiply both the top and the bottom by x plus 8. So the second part of this equation we're going to multiply by x minus 2. So we have 3x minus 2, then x plus 8 times x minus 2. Since we have the same denominator now, we can just go ahead and combine the top. The bottom is the same, so it doesn't matter how you write it. X minus 2 can go first or it can go last. And then we're going to write the top. 15x plus 8, and then plus 3 times x minus 2. Now we're going to distribute across so that we can try and simplify. We're going to get 15x plus 120 plus, here we have 3x minus 6 all over x minus 2, x plus 8. Let's combine like terms. We would get 18x plus 144 all over x minus 2 times x plus 8. Now remember, x cannot be positive 2, x cannot be negative 8. This is our answer. Now let's move on to number 11. Okay, here we also don't have a common denominator, so we need to figure out the least common multiple. First, we're going to factor this term, since it's not factored already. We're going to use the x method, so a times c is negative 7x squared, b is negative 6x, and then our two numbers should be negative 7x and positive x. We write into our box, a is x squared, c is negative 7. Our new terms are negative 7x and x. In order to get x squared, you need x times x. Here you're going to need a 7. Here you're going to need a 1, positive 1. So it looks like this is the same thing as x minus 7, x plus 1. So now our least common multiple is going to be, looks like x minus 7 times x plus 1. That's something that they all should have in common. Now let's multiply. The first term we're going to multiply by x plus 1 since we already have an x minus 7. So x times x plus 1, and 7, x minus 7 times x plus 1. The second term we're going to multiply by x minus 7. And then this last term, we already have an x minus 7 and an x plus 1, so we don't have to multiply by anything. So just bring it down, ax, and then x minus 7, x plus 1. Now we're going to combine, since we have the common denominator. So we have x plus x plus 1, x times x plus 1, minus 2, x minus 7 minus 8x, all over x minus 7 times x plus 1. Now let's distribute. Here we have x squared plus x minus 2x, and then plus 14x. Oh, just 14. Negative 2 times negative 7 would give us positive 14, and then minus 8x, all over x minus 7, x plus 1. Now combine like terms. We have x squared, and then if we combine those, positive x minus 2x and then minus 8x, we're going to get negative 9x and then plus 14. And at the bottom we have x minus 7, x plus 1. Okay, for this term we're going to be able to factor, so let's do that. So a times c is 14x squared, b is negative 9x. Our two terms are going to be 7x and 2x, and both of these have to be negative. Now let's fill in our box, x squared and 14. Our terms are negative 7x and negative 2x. We need x and x, we need a negative 7, and then we need a negative 2. So when we rewrite, we're going to have x minus 7, x plus 1 at the bottom, and then at the top we got our new factors, which are x minus 7 and x minus 2. Now you can see that the top and the bottom, x minus 7, is going to cancel out. So our answer is just x minus 2 over x plus 1, and then we have to write that x cannot be positive 7 because of here, and then x cannot be negative 1. This is our answer. And that's it for today's notes.